I'm Ian Knauer. I'm one of the food editors here at Gourmet Magazine. This morning, we were in Prospect Park in Brooklyn, and we were foraging for some wild food that we're going to turn into a pesto, a nice sauce for some pasta. When you're foraging for food, you do need to be very careful and know what you're doing. There are plenty of books on the subject, and I would check them out before you decide to start foraging seriously. Another thing to remember is that everything you pick needs to be washed. Here in New York, we love our dogs. We bring them to the park, and they do what dogs do best. There's a very good chance that something at some time has peed on your food. What we found this morning were two very distinct plants. One is called lamb's quarters. We're going to use the leaves to act like a basil in our pesto. It has a very similar flavor to spinach. The other thing that we found was wild garlic. As you can see, it's much smaller than cultivated garlic, but it's also much more pungent. It's very garlicky. This is kind of like the punk rock star of the wild food world. When I have guests over for dinner and you tell your guests that you just picked these in the park, they're not always so adventurous. Our first stop in making our pesto is to take some of our garlic, which we've cleaned and peeled. We're going to smash it into a paste. The way to do that is to mix it up with some salt, smash it first, and then chop it. Once you've done that a couple times, you can literally smash it into a paste. Kind of drag your knife over there. And we're ready to go. We're going to add it to the food processor, along with the rest of our ingredients, which include, of course, our lamb's quarters. We only have the leaves in here. We've taken the stems out. About a quarter cup of toasted pine nuts, the same amount of grated Parmigiano, about another half teaspoon of salt, and about the same amount of pepper. We're going to want this ground down very finely, almost to a paste. Once we get there, we're going to add our olive oil with the motor running. About 6 tablespoons total. What we end up with is a creamy, green, nutritious, wild, exciting pesto. All right, let's toss it with our pasta. Everything's going to get tossed together. Got some tiny little leaves from the top of those stems that we'll garnish with. Just a little bit more cheese. In the end, we have a very beautiful dish. We picked it this morning. We're eating it this afternoon. It's delicious. It's good for you. Prospect pesto. Voila.